Well, hello everybody and welcome to the Heed Army podcast. What a week it's been on and off the pitch for Gateshead Football Club. A fantastic friendly with Newcastle, with the stadium full and lots of people at home watching the streams and in bars as well, as Mark will tell us later on. He's got a little story on that. But fantastic stuff. That's what we want to do. Keep on talking about that. We've got more positives to talk about. We've got a game this Friday night away to Dunston UTS. It's always a great game down there. So get yourselves down and show the support for the club and also for Dunston as well. It's a nice little payday for them as well. Great derby. But as you can see, I've got Mark Rivers here with me. Davey Steele and Mickey is back. There he is. Hello there, lads.
Good evening.
Evening, boys.
I tell you what, we've got messages coming in as ever. If you're new to the Heed Army podcast, big thank you to all of the new subscribers. We got over 100 subscribers on Saturday, which is amazing stuff. Thank you to every one of you. And you can comment in the live chat like this. Sean Parry's put good evening. Hope you're all well. We are. Theo has put good evening, gents. Thank you, Theo. Liv Walden as well has put good evening. And Charles Waff have got a beautiful picture of me, may I add. On Saturday, I was looking very stoic, I think is the word I would say. But next time, to get the third chin in. But yeah, I'll put this on the background. We'll talk about it first. Of course, Newcastle United at home on Saturday, 7,000 plus crowd. It was wet and wild. I think we can definitely say that due to the weather conditions. But a strong Newcastle United side. Okay, maybe it wasn't a side that would go out in the Premier League with 6 wing backs or in the starting lineup. But these are top class, top flight and Champions League players. They're going to be in the Champions League this year. Mark, we give a good account of ourselves, and I think that's what we wanted, wasn't it?
Well, we mentioned during the commentary that for Newcastle, this was about fitness. The results, I mean, not that they do for any team in pre-season, but it was purely about fitness for Newcastle and getting back into the routine and, taking those knocks that you take in games and just trying to find their way back into sort of that routine that every top-tier team has. For Gateshead, very much the same, but I think what we're starting to see on Saturday was something approaching the cohesion, the togetherness that Mike and Busted like from the team. I just thought it was a really good first 60 minutes from Gateshead. Yes, they got opened up on a number of occasions, but you kind of expect that playing against Premier League players. I don't think Newcastle expected the intensity that Gateshead played with, if I'm being perfectly honest. I think you saw the high press, the first goal came from it, for example. You couldn't not be impressed by Gateshead when you look at the way they set up, the way they passed the ball around, the way... I did think that they kind of grew into the game, and the first 10 minutes looked a bit like the Sunderland game, where it was very similar, where, Sunderland and Newcastle did the same, where they kind of dominated the opening stages. But once Gateshead settled and started getting in the routine and started getting that passing game going and started being a bit braver with the press, they really matched Newcastle. Well, let's be honest, I wouldn't say outclassed. That's probably not the right word. But
the intensity was that more from Gateshead and the peer results.
Yeah, and I look at players, you look at Adam Campbell there, you look at Greg Ollie, you look at Regan Booty, I think has looked really good in the friendlies. I've seen him so far. I thought Dinanga looked sharp, as we were saying before we came on air. The back four looked solid. It just looked as if Gateshead are in a good place at the moment in terms of pre-season. I looked a year ago and maybe there were a lot of questions to be asked or answered. Now I don't feel there are. I think there's a lot of questions that could be asked have already been answered, and now it's kind of getting to the stage where midway through pre-season, it's really just about the fine-tuning before Boreham Wood.
Yeah, and
I don't think you could have asked for much better on Saturday, by the way, lads. I mean, as you were talking about the first 60 minutes there, the team performed, extremely well. People who had never seen Gateshead before, our style of football, I saw a lot of comments, a lot of people very impressed by how we performed against Premiership opposition. And yeah, you're right about Newcastle. It was like their first run out really, and the maybe the intensity wasn't there, but. As a football club, I don't think Gateshead could ask for anything better. We performed well. We showed what we're made of. Even the commentary was good. I mean, what more can you ask?
Mickey, in years gone by, how many times have we seen Gateshead have the opportunity to put themselves in the shop window to Tyneside, whether it be a friendly like this against Newcastle, and you get drubbed 6-0, and it's neither here nor there, and it's about the money. Yes, we made the money, but as well, we put on a display there on Saturday where, Newcastle fans couldn't deny that we played attractive football for, vast majority of the game.
Well, the comments I heard, we've been absolutely shite as a Gateshead being a better team, and when I booked the ideas up, and I'm thinking, God, it's half time. Surely fitness is going to tell in the end. I know it was their first week back, and we're full time as well, but there's a different. Premier League players. I seen a pass by Kieran Trippier where he didn't even have to look, and he just knocked the ball over. I think it was to Jamal Lewis, and that tells me he'd already, before the ball's coming to him, he's already looking around, and that's where the speed of thought comes from. That's the difference, I think, between Premier League footballers. It's just speed of thought and having known how to read the game. There was a few chances we come through when Adam Campbell played a ball and the defender stepped out and got to it and made it look like a bad pass. Will we see that in the National League? I'm not too sure we will.
Yeah.
I think the one thing I would say, look at it, kind of the external view of Gateshead, is I still think a lot of Premier League and maybe even Football League fans still think non-league is all about 6'4" big man up front, knock it long, and all this sort of stuff, playing kind of how, let's be honest, a lot of non-league teams used to play. But I think what has been opened up now is that people have seen how Gateshead played, if they have been last season or even in the game on Saturday, it's very much the sort of style. Eddie Howe spoke about it, Eddie's post-match, about how he loves the intensity Gateshead play with. He loves the work that Mike and Busted have done. I think it showed a lot of people that just because these lads aren't playing in the Football League, that they are still very, very capable footballers. I thought this was a great finish, by the way. It looks very simple, but you've got to look at the amount of people between him and the goal, and the fact he hasn't got a big space to finish in. It's such a good finish from Wearne.
As Mick said there, I mean, if you look at that, I'll just see what I move back a little bit here. Just watch his head. He looks up. It's to say just what you said, mentioned with Kieran Trippier. There you go. Little look, bang.
It was the only place. It was the only place he could have put it, really, without hitting defender or whatever. It was the only place, and he picked out nicely.
I can't say too much, but my son did walk out with Wearne for the game, and so I think that's where the advice came from. Make sure William did say that. I said make sure you get it and finish. So credit.
And obviously Newcastle pulling one back there. Elliot Anderson, I think he was the man of the match for me. I think grew into the game in the second half. Obviously went more up top by himself instead of in midfield. But a hell of a player there. But as we mentioned, the class kind of proved a little bit. We're talking about top class players here. That obviously they're in the Champions League. They've earned the right to be there. A lot of these players were involved in last season. So, for us to go out there,
fitness as well.
For us to go out there and give them a scare. And by all accounts, half time Newcastle got a bit of a rollicking because I don't think the manager would be too impressed that they got shown up for intensity from a National League side. Going 2-0 down, but. I mean, we came out, but maybe just say as well, the reason we are called Wet and Wild on this episode is because it was wet and wild at half time. We thought that game wasn't going to go ahead, Mark.
Yeah, I mean, genuinely sat there it was more for the Lightning, by the way, more than the rain, because there was a couple of lightning strikes when it was fork lightning, and it looked like it was behind the far stand. And I thought if that gets any closer, we are in real danger of this game not going ahead second half. But when you looked at the running track and you saw that it was literally covered in water and it was still coming down, I think, I thought there was a real danger. But you know what? Fair play to those that look after the pitch, because it played really well. And yes, it held up a little bit, but nowhere near as much as I thought it would. So fair play to the lads that work on the pitch.
Definitely. Matty and Simon Lowry do a great job out there. We've got lots of messages coming in. We've got Louise Dixie's put a brilliant game, great atmosphere. It certainly was. Someone's put, did Notts County sell Mayor out of guilt? He's actually on loan from Norwich. He was on loan at Notts County last year. We've got 1 second. We've got another one here. even an all great game on Saturday. A bit weird that Dartford were in my end. So obviously, I think Dartford came up because they were at Dunston the night before, weren't they? I think they were.
Yeah.
Mark was rubbing shoulders with a less better commentator than me. I'm sure he'll tell us who.
The fact you've just said less better.
I know, says it all, doesn't it?
Yeah. It kind of tells it to one story, doesn't it, Mark? Really?
Yeah.
You never said about that. I didn't use a better choice of word.
I bet there was a few who saw the game on Saturday who'd come back and watch Gateshead this season, with Newcastle
that was what we mentioned.
Playing Sunday games and all of that,
We said that in commentary a few times. We hope that will give a good account of ourselves where people might, if Newcastle are playing away, we said that a few times and stuff like that. But we're just talking about, I believe there's quite a few thousand people purchased the stream, but we know there's a lot more watched it because Mark was told on the school run numerous times, weren't you? I'll let you tell a little story about what happened for your friends too.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think so. My one of my best mates, Mark Rutter's getting married on Tuesday, which is why I'm not with Davey on Tuesday against Harrogate. And his stag do was on Saturday, and I was meant to be out in town for it. But obviously, with the way work went on at the stadium, and speaking to Mike and such like after the game, by the time I got home, they'd all been out since 12 o'clock. So I was like, I'm not going to be in town till about 8:30 at this rate. So texted him and said, I'm really sorry, you won't be able to make it. Got nothing back until Sunday morning when he texted me and said, unfortunately, you were there on Saturday afternoon. And I was like, what are you on about? And he said, well, we went into one bar in town where the first thing I heard when I walked in was your dulcet tones. There may well have been another word in there. We'll not say what that was. Was your dulcet tones because I had the match on and all we could hear was you and Davey's voices. So even when you weren't there, I can't get rid of you. And then more words followed. But,
So obviously we knew we reached far and wide. We're getting messages from Australia, Baghdad as well, I think was one of them. So it was very international feel, but nice to know that places in Tyneside, were showing it, and hopefully, it'll give a little bit of advertisement for people to come and watch us. Let's see, I think this is the Newcastle's. No, it isn't. I'll zip this forward a little bit. It is. Oh yeah, it is. Sorry, I'll just take it back.
Can I just make a quick point here, right? And I know this is a Gateshead podcast, but the kid who set this goal up, Lewis Miley's going to be a very, very special player. He's only just turned 17. He's got his first pro deal. Obviously, he played last night at Rangers as well. I think he's the real deal. I really do.
Yeah, he's 17 years old.
It's a lovely little thing. Look at that.
Superb.
There were very high hopes from at Newcastle in the academy, and he's starting to live up to that hype. And I think we could have seen a future star there, I think, or possibly even a very, very current one.
Yeah. Well, it's to say, just so you can see on the screen, we've got #comedy. We have got some tickets available to give away tonight for tomorrow's Laugh Your Heed Off at Gateshead International Stadium. Of course, a friend of ours, Gavin Webster, Matt Reid is on there. I'll get the full lineup here. Al Stevenson and John Scott, fantastic lineup there. You would see that in any comedy club up and down the country. So if you would like to win tickets to that #comedy in the chat, also as well, make sure you can go. We want these tickets to be used, and also, if you don't win, get your tickets for tomorrow. It'll be an absolutely fantastic occasion. If you haven't seen Gav before, or Matt Reid, absolutely fantastic. I think I've seen John Scott once, and I've heard of Al Stevenson is quite good on the circuit. So there you go. Or should I say extremely good? But there you go. #comedy, and you could be at Gateshead International Stadium tomorrow night for free. But if not, get onto the Gateshead website and order your tickets. You will not be disappointed. And also, well, we're on as well. If you are going up to the Edinburgh Fringe, go and see Gav. He's got 2 shows on. He's got proper jokes, and you can't say no these days, both in the early afternoon and late afternoon. So if you're on a day trip, you can definitely squeeze them in before train back. So there we go. There's some of the plugs done. And there we go. We've got people already doing it. They're entering now. There we go. Comedy, that's it. Keep it in. So if you can make it tomorrow night to Gateshead International Stadium and you want the chance to win tickets, get involved with that. #comedy. We'll do that at the end of the show. Right, I'll just get us so we're all the same. There we are. Just obviously the aftermath of the game on Saturday, social media was awash with obviously there was praise for our performance, around saying good luck, best of luck to Gateshead, and that was what we wanted. Didn't think we might have got it as in abundance as what we did. I was hoping that we'd give a good 10-minute spell, if I'm honest, because in the past we've had the 5-0 drubbins, the 7-0 drubbins against Newcastle's first team, and kind of said at the beginning of the show that we never really got much out of that. Didn't get any, footfall from it. And I say, Mickey, do you think we can get some footfall from this showing?
I cannot see why not. I mean, unless you got absolutely drenched. I think you went home a little bit peeved if you was in the uncovered ends and you got absolutely soaked like they did.
Yeah,
my heart went out to them. I really did feel sorry for them. But on that show alone,
yeah,
they played some good football. But we played some really good football against Sunderland as well.
We did.
We did.
And the goalkeeper looks being after the goalkeeper. We've got one
and the Archie Mayor
looks good.
He does. I mean, I've got him here, a picture of him here, of course. He
looks the real deal, doesn't he? He looks a good, confident keeper, and with his feet, which is a strange thing to be saying, but in modern day football, he is. He's a good all round keeper, isn't he?
The thing is, the way that Mike and Busted and Louis Story like to play, your goalkeeper is effectively another outfield player, so you've got to have someone who is as comfortable with the ball at the feet and also is composed. And there was several times on Saturday and in the second half of the Sunderland game where he was being closed down with quite an intense press as well. And he just didn't look flustered, and he just picked out a pass and got Gator on the way. I think this is a case of patience paying off, because I know for a fact Mike and Busted had several goalkeepers put to them. I know that there was some that I think Gateshead fans would have seen as good signings, but just maybe weren't the right style. Whereas they've got Archie in now, who very much is. I know for a fact how highly rated he is down at Norwich. So yeah, it's a promising signing, someone who I think will go on to be a real fan favourite between now and the end of the season.
How old is he? Does anyone know how old he is?
20,
yeah. But you mentioned obviously about wanting them to be an outfield player. It's at the top of the game, that as well, isn't it? I mean, even the goalkeeper that Manchester United's after, he's very comfortable outside the box with the ball, isn't he? He's like a sweeper. So it's
he needs to be with Man United's defense.
Yeah, but I mean but that's the form the game's taken, isn't it? It's even at the lower levels, people want to play that brand of football because it's not only nice on the eye, but it is when you listen to the commentary. But nice on the eye, but also it's effective as well. Apparently, Mayor's 22 or Stato Mason 22.
Okay.
So,
that all started with Man City, didn't it? When Joe Hart we got rid of him. Basically, it was a bit of a shock at the time, but Man City wanted a player who could play, a keeper who could play the ball out. And it went from there, really, didn't it? It took off from there. That was the trendsetter.
I had a really interesting, just because I've seen him mentioned there, but I had a really interesting chat with Rob Elliott after the Hebburn game. And he said, I mean, he's what, 38 now, I think Rob is? 37, 38. And he mentioned the fact that he's never really played that way as a goalkeeper. So when he came on against Hebburn in the first half. He played the first half. It was very much a new style of football for him, and I thought that was quite interesting. Keep it up in the Premier League. He's playing Europa League football. He's played in the Championship, but now he's in the National League.
And still learning.
If I can just make one last point, it works for Gateshead, by the way. Now, I see teams around, around the non-league scene that try and play this way, but they can't do it because maybe players are in those positions aren't comfortable enough on the ball. But with the way Mike and Busted have got this, and Louis, have got this team drilled, they are very comfortable in it. And you know what? Sometimes it might happen. It might happen where they get caught, but I can guarantee more often than not it'll work. So it's that risk reward, ratio.
I think that maybe Marshall got a one or two comments, and also the goalkeeper before him in Langley, where yes, the ball's passed back and the pressure is going to be there. And obviously at the beginning of last season, we weren't as tight at the back. It wasn't a fluid form. It wasn't a constant formation. It wasn't consistent. So now we've got that, hopefully, touch wood, that we can keep a constant defence, and it'll pay dividends. And those slip ups, you would hope, would be far and few between. But when they do happen, you've just got to take it on the chin, because that is part of the way we play. I think it's an acceptable danger, the way we play at the minute.
Yeah. Wasn't the first goal against Sunderland? Was that? Didn't we played out the back, weren't we? I'm just trying to think of it. Wasn't it?
It was a pass back from Story to Kenton Richardson, wasn't there?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, we played it beautifully out, very rapidly, and moved forward. Anyway,
the way I would look at it is this style of play has taken Gateshead from possible National League North playoff contenders to a very, very good National League side, along with a visit to Wembley on the way. So they will stick to it, because it's the right thing to do. The whole recruitment has been around this style of play, and that's why they are seeing now is, and I've seen people nationally, by the way, not locally, people nationally calling Gateshead dark horses for playoffs this season. So that's the impact it's starting to make, and people are sitting up and taking notice.
Just on the Marshall front there, Johnny Grace put there. Speaking of Marshall, lovely. Good to see him starting for Villa, first team friendly the other day. Yeah, just hopefully if he can get into that first team, it'd be very nice. But if not, he can get a loan higher up the football ladder. It'll be fantastic. Also, there other people entering the competition. The best thing of the friendlies is that we can see where the flaws are. Of course, it's everyone's getting something out of this, both teams, and I think we got more out of the Sunderland Newcastle game than I think we probably expected. I would say, as fans, I don't know what Mike and Bustard's expectations were, but for me, I wasn't expecting to be as competitive this early. It's a massive bonus, but still a lot of work to do. And I think Dunston, obviously on Friday night, if anyone wants to get down to the UTS, it'll be a great game. It always is, with the lovely hosts down there. But I think that one might be a slightly different game where players get more game time. There might be a 45-minute change at half time. You'll see players come on for another 45 minutes. I think it'll be used in a different way. Still the same brand of football, but I think we'll see other players getting a little bit more game time, and maybe even trialists. So, because we didn't have any trialists in that game, in the Newcastle game, so I would expect to see us have a few on Friday.
I would expect it, and the way the weather's been, I wouldn't like to be trying to play a football at the back on Dunston's pitch.
Do you know what? I was there on Friday.
Just an injustice there, Mickey.
I was there Friday when they drew with Dartford, and it poured down. It really did, and the pitch held up very well. They've done a lot of work on it.
Oh, good.
And I think it'll be, again, it depends on what happens between now and Friday night. I think there'll be. It'll certainly hold up and be more the sort of pitch Gateshead like playing on. But it'll be a good test, by the way, whatever the Gateshead side is. Because
absolutely.
John McDonald, the Dunston managers, his recruitment's been good this summer, and it'll be a good test.
There's actually been, glad you brought us on to that recruitment. There's been quite a few interesting signings around. Former Gateshead players, of course. We know John Shaw went to Blythe as a player assistant. Wayne Phillips has signed for his second club this pre-season. He did initially sign for North Shields, but went on to Whitley Bay, returned to the club where he had a lot of. He scored did he score the winner for Whitley Bay? Oh, he scored the first goal, didn't he, in the FA Vars final?
Wembley.
Yeah, Wembley is a screamer as well. So he's back there. And Eddie Thomas, who was part of the system, he's signed for Marsk. So I think that's a good move for him. Wow. It's a big step up. I think we'll see how he does. I mean, he's going to be playing with Adam Boyes and under Graham Lee as well. So hopefully they'll do very well down there, because I liked him, me.
I did.
Just going off a tangent slightly. Any idea why Dartford came all the way up to Dunston? Will they expect a night on the lash in Newcastle?
So Dowsett could go home.
Is he the manager?
Yeah,
Alan Dowson's the manager. Yeah,
is he really? Oh, because he was obviously at Woking, and then he got the sack there.
The pure shock and joy there in your face, Dave. You're like, really?
The thing is, I'm showing my age because I obviously remember him as a player at the Heed. You know, that's going back a few years. But I like Dawson. He was a good guy.
He does this quite often. So he's been up with Woking, and I think it was Hampton Richmond Borough came up as well.
Richmond. Yeah.
So I had a good chat with him. Actually, I'll be a bit of a plug here, but I've got a piece in the non-league paper with him this Sunday.
Good.
But so I think from what I could make out, they played Dunston on Friday night. Saturday morning, they were training on a beach somewhere. Went to the Gateshead Newcastle game Saturday lunchtime, and then went out into town on the night time. So
I heard they were in the Black
team
Horse.
bonding. I think the word is.
Yeah, absolutely. That sounds well. They got the playoff final, didn't they? Were they beaten in the playoff final last year? I think. Aye, by Oxford. So
they were quite direct on Friday, and they gave Dunston. I mean, they went 2-0 up, and Dunston did well to come back into it, and probably should have won the game in the end. Again, results don't matter pre-season, but it was a good test for both clubs, and I know both clubs said that they got a lot out of it. So, it was good. It was good to see them.
We've got a few messages coming in here. We've got one from Lewis Yorks, but I'm surprised the second half got underway. I think he's wanted to say against Newcastle. That weather was bonkers. It certainly was. It was it wasn't funny, but it was when on our mics we could hear the crowd behind us every time there was like a big fork lightning, and you could hear the talking about the stadium though. We haven't really got into this because there isn't much to talk about on it. I don't know. Obviously, we know what Gateshead Council's like at the moment. There's a big cost-cutting agenda going on. What are your thoughts on the future of the stadium? Are there plans for an asset transfer from the council to college and the club? I haven't a clue. Worrying times, of course. I know they're wanting to close Berkeley Leisure Centre as well, Gateshead Council. So, watch this space and find out what happens. I think there's a meeting going on soon. But the good thing is for Gateshead and the college, I believe, both tenants, so it can't be closed because they are renting the stadium. So as tenants, we're safe in that way. But don't hold us to that. It's my understanding of how it goes. But hopefully we can, it gets resolved because... worrying times, of course, and no one wants to lose the ground. They lost to St. Albans in the semi-final.
Oh, yeah. Right, okay.
So there we go. We are going to be having Carl, he's forgot his second name for a second Morrison. Carl Morrison, I'm terrible at the minute. Carl Morrison is going to be joining us, ladies manager. We're going to be talking about the fixtures coming up, new signings as well. So just before we do that, we'd love you to like and subscribe. We know we've had a lot of people do it, and we know we've had some new people messaging tonight. So this is just what you've got to do, and follow us on all our social media, and we'll be back in a second. The Heed Army podcast needs your help. No, we don't need money. All we need is you to do one simple thing. It'll take less than a second. If you could hit that like button, the subscribe button, and share whatever post that we put up regarding Gateshead Football Club, it'll go a long way in helping the show build and ultimately helping us push the club to the moon. And a reminder that you can win tickets to Laugh Your Heed Off at Gateshead International Stadium tomorrow with a fine lineup here at, Gav Webster, Al Stevenson, John Scott, and Matt Reed. Please do enter the competition. And if you're unfortunate enough not to win the tickets and to go along tomorrow night, there's still tickets available and you will have a fantastic night. As I've said many a time, that is a great lineup in any comedy club around the country. So you're going to enjoy it there. If you haven't been to a live comedy before, go along, experience it. That's what it's all about. That's where it's best. And as I say, Gav, big Gateshead fan, and he'll definitely not fail to tickle your funny bone. So to enter hashtag comedy. So there we go. And
you said funny bone there.
Yeah, I know. Well, Gav's very accommodating, but I don't think he'll do that for you. We've got Nottingham got a panda at hand. They want to close Birtley, Gateshead and Heath Leisure Centre. It's an absolute disgrace. No wonder people are getting overweight because they can't get away to get fit. Well, just from my point of view, it's the burgers and chocolate that's doing that, not the leisure centre.
Some of your feet kind of keep them at the chip shop.
Yeah, but
I have the same problem myself, Davey.
But it is concerning. Of course, I know that they've already confirmed they're closing Gateshead Leisure Centre. They're up for plans for the other reviewing Heath and Birtley, and of course the stadium falls into that mix as well. Barry Lee has put, is there still plans for a new stadium in the pipeline, guys? Not that I know of.
Not at the minute.
I'd be very pleasantly surprised. But we do have Carl Morrison here with us. I'm going to bring him in now. There we go. I didn't forget your name before. So you've had a very busy summer pre-season, haven't you, Carl?
Yeah, really busy, to be fair. Looking at what we achieved last season and what we need this season, we're quite proactive from the start. So we've kept Jack and Brandon, the media guys, very busy with new signing posts.
Well, just as you're saying that, I've got a few of the pictures here with Jodie Thorpe there. And I'll tell you what, I've got 3 pictures to put up, but talk us through how you got Jodie in.
Yeah, so Jodie come in. She knew one of the girls who plays on the uni team. She got in touch. Came along towards the back end of last season when the transfer deadline was done, so we couldn't sign her on. But really impressed in training, so we knew quite early that we wanted her as part of the squad for the season coming up. Yeah, and
let's see, we've got another one here as well, Lily.
Yeah, Lily Smith. It's a strange one. So we've got we've seen our women's goalkeeper in Carly Salmon, who's absolutely fantastic. So we were never really looking to bring in a goalkeeper. But when we put out the open trial sessions, Lily came along and she was fantastic. So we had the conversation with her about being part of the team, signing on, us helping her to develop, and what we could do for her, but also knowing that she wouldn't necessarily be involved in many games at the start. And we might look to get a dual veg so she can play elsewhere. But she's came in and she's been absolutely fantastic. Carly's taken her under her wing, so she's got a great role model there. But she's for a young girl of 16 to just turn up to a trial by herself with senior women and be brave and, shout keepers and come out and claim the ball.
Yeah,
it's like, she's really impressed. So we're really glad to have her.
Also, as well, it's nice to have someone pushing everyone for every position as well, though, isn't it? It's a nice problem to have.
100%, because you see the difference in training, now as well. Like, Lily might make a save in training. Carly's got to go and make a better one now. That's the way it works. Prior to that, it was Carly in one goal and we'd be chucking Rusty in the other goal for the match. So Carly didn't have much competition. But
the Battle of the Redheads, as that was called.
Yeah, Rusty's back at this kit man now, like so.
Yeah, and we've got Kaz there as well. It was another one that was in the middle of your glut of signings that you've had this season.
Yeah, Kaz, really good midfielder. Just good on the ball, always got an idea of what she wants to do before she receives it, and just like the model pro, really, always there, putting in the hard work. Very mature player, so she'll come in and add a lot.
Yeah, and just to add, I mean, the league fixtures haven't been announced yet, have they? But you've got your pre-season ones. But before going into that, you have actually got an official fixture. We've got a cup game that's already been announced, so that's not too far away now. We're only a month away from getting underway. You must be chomping at the bit, ready for it then.
Yeah, that just got announced at we didn't know this was happening because the league haven't ran their own League Cup for the last 3 years. So they just announced that at the AGM on Sunday, which comes as a bit of a shock to us because we had friendlies put in for the 20th and 27th of August because the league doesn't start until the 3rd of September.
Yeah.
So we've had to rearrange things a little bit, but I think it's good because of the friendlies we've already got in before then. Hopefully we'll be up to speed for that game, and we'll need to be because it's against really good opposition.
And of course,
Carl, what division's Anik in? Are they in the same division?
The one above. Yeah.
Or one above. That should be a good testing.
Above us, yeah. So
be a good test for them.
Excellent. Yeah, definitely. So we have got some friendlies like booked in with teams in the division above us as well.
Well, that's what I was just about to bring those up there. I mean, you've got some good tests there already for going into those games. Your home fixtures are still going to be played behind Gated Stadium on the 3G pitch, are they?
Yeah. So they'll be free for anybody to come up and watch up on the 3Gs, and we're playing South Shields away, who are in the division above, and we're in talks for one more friendly as well. We're just looking to get that nailed down.
Oh, fantastic. And as I say, Mickey's our resident expert on the ladies. I'll let him take over from here with some questions.
How many more? Have you any more signings planned for this week, Carl?
Yeah. We've went quiet. I think we've had 4 days off.
Yeah.
But we've got one going out tomorrow, and potentially another 2 to come. Yeah, and then I think that's where we'll be, where we're at with squad, which I think will give us better numbers, better competition in all positions, and will just drive standards up on a whole.
Carl, have you got any expectations for the new season?
Expectations, like I've got aims. I don't know about expectations. The aims.
What are your demands, Carl? What are your demands?
Yeah, come on. What do you want?
The demands is to just make
promotion.
Sure we don't look back and go, oh, if we'd only done this or if we'd only done that, we could have got promoted. Yeah. I personally think we overachieved last season. But still, we could have been promoted. There was bits there when we've looked back and thought, if we'd just done this or done that, we could have got promoted. So we don't want to be kicking ourselves at the end of the season. We're getting standards right from the start. We're making sure everybody's putting it in on the field, off the field. Everybody's doing their bit, from everybody to make sure we can do it. But I think with what we've got, I think we should be aiming to get promoted. There's some really good teams in the league, so it will be a massive challenge. But with the group of players we've got, then that's definitely the aim.
Excellent.
And
you kept a lot of the core of the team, and you're adding to it. And a lot of the core of that team done really well last year, in my opinion. To add a lot of quality as well. I think we've got a hell of a chance.
They've done really well, and like it again, like I say, I do feel like we could have been promoted. But when we came in last season, we came in for the second game of the season when I got offered the job, and so the squad was kind of there. Players were already settled in other teams, so we couldn't really recruit well. So it was working with what we had, and we had a good team. But then with our experience of having that whole season, knowing what we had, knowing what we potentially lacked, knowing what we need to kick on, hopefully we feel we've got that right during the summer. And
sorry, got in, but obviously we're seeing a lot of traction and attention to Newcastle United ladies at the moment. Do you think you're going to see a benefit of that because of obviously the interest of young girls as well going to the games? Because it is noticeable that at the ladies' games it is a higher percentage of young girls at the games, because you can hear by the crowds when goals are scored and when chances. It's a lot more of a female orientated crowd. Do you think that will hopefully pay dividends down to your level in the coming years?
Yeah, I think it's got to, because there's just going to be more wanting to be involved, and there'll be the people who will potentially get to that level, and then there'll be the people who, as Newcastle go up, there'll be people who are at the level that sort of we'll be in. But I think there'll just be more people, more engagement, more pathways for girls, like there is as time goes on, more pathways for people to get involved in football, and get to the level where they want to be or sort of deserve to be at. So that should help us a lot as the years go on, and we've got our aims as well. So we want to do similar things. We want to progress season on season. So there might be players potentially who are at Newcastle or who leave Newcastle over the years, then we might benefit from that also if we do our bit.
Definitely.
Are you happy with the way pre-season's gone so far, Carl?
Yeah, couldn't be happier. I was just speaking to Dion there because I've just finished the session, and Dion was watching a game down there where I finished, and we were just having the chat, and she was just saying how like Tuesday was one of her favourite ever sessions, and I just think it's like bringing them new players in, standards being driven, us being just very open and honest about what aims for the season, what our negotiables are, what our non-negotiables are, and people have seemed to buy into that from the start, and if we can continue that, I think we'll be good. But pre-season's just been really good. It's been hard work. Hugo grafts them. Hugo's the fitness guy, so he's the one putting them through all that part. So he's the one getting called all the names, but everybody's putting everything in. So they're doing it with a smile on the face at the same time, and I think that's when you know you've got a good group and you can do good things.
Have you given them the beep test?
No. More stuff we do with the ball. So a lot of it, if it is fitness work, a lot of it will still be with the ball. There is bits without, but no, he hasn't went that far as the test yet. I think he gets called that bad enough names as it is. The test.
Mickey, after physically sick, just watching a beep test, never mind taking part.
I know he's making them do 5K runs, isn't he?
Oh. Yeah, so we train once a week with the ladies. We get a pitch for an hour and a half. So with us during pre-season, you know, we don't get to train twice. So we're making sure we put all that stuff in place. So the girls are all sending their screenshots to Hugo. It's funny because we got one day there was Carly, the goalkeeper, sent us a picture of a Fitbit watch which said 30 minutes, 20 seconds. And then another girl sent us the picture of the screen of the treadmill that said 30 minutes, 20 seconds. And I got them pictures within about 10 seconds of each other. So I was like, hold on, as one of these just ran, took a picture of the screen, picture of the watch, and said, look, you have this picture for yours, you know? Yeah. So I was like, it turns out I was just being Columbo and jumping to the wrong conclusions, and it wasn't. But yeah, you've got to watch them.
In future, though, you're onto them just in case. Well,
I'm that guy in the gym with a newspaper with two holes cutting it, you know.
Yeah. You don't want to be saying about that, really. You don't say that on a public platform.
Well,
it's the only way I get in the gym anyway.
There was a story under the cosh where you had to send a daily thing about how far they'd ran. It's like, I think it was at Oldham, and Ian Marshall strapped us to the dog and just sat there drinking cans all day. And they were getting all this like feedback, all the information come back, and they couldn't understand what was happening.
Yeah.
So,
right. Hey, lads, we should do that.
No. Yeah, I think we'll leave that. But no, absolutely fantastic. And I'll put them friendlies up again. Of course, you'll want some support at the away games, but the home game as well. It'd be nice to get people to come along and see us do your stuff at the home game. So here's the friendlies that's up. And is there more to come, I believe? Is there, Carl?
Hopefully one more. I think the cup games, the cup games that have went in have replaced the last two friendlies. Mm-hmm. But with that in mind, would like to bring one forward and add another one in. So there might be another game sort of wedged in between, the Shields and Liam game or the Liam and Berkeley game.
Yeah. Well, of course, they've got the Shields game a week on Sunday the 30th. Is that actually at South Shields ground?
No, it's the academy, is it, Carl?
Yeah, is it the Miners? What's it called? Is it Harton
and Westone Shields Academy?
Yeah. They're on the pitches out the back of there. Yeah.
And then we've got Liam Rangers at home, of course, the 3G pitches behind Gateshead Stadium, and Berkeley Town, which is a lovely little ground to go to. It gets better every time you go. That's on Wednesday the 16th. So the games will start to come thick and fast, and we'll definitely have you on, and some of the girls as well, going into the season, and keep up to date with everything that you are doing. And hopefully it's going to be a lovely season.
Oh, fingers crossed. That's what we're hoping for. Yeah.
Yeah.
Make sure you take the scarf for your signings.
Well, so I had to get it last night, and there was nobody in the office. Jack wasn't there, because I usually just go in the office and say, Jack, can you come out with a scarf? And he's obviously doing it every 5 minutes. But last night my son's got one drawn pinned onto his wall. I had to take it off last night because I knew nobody would be in the office, and take it off and go down with a scarf, get the picture. So I've got to put that back up actually.
See, nobody tells you about the glamour of being a football manager, do they?
Drawn pins go in kind of easy, but they're a swine to get out.
Yeah.
So that's the hardest thing I've done in pre-season. I've not to do any 5K runs.
Oh well, that's all right.
Was your boy one of the mascots on Saturday?
No, he was at Wembley.
But
he wasn't on Saturday. He was there. He burst into tears when St. Maximin equalised.
Mark's son was a mascot.
So yeah, I saw that, Mark. That was amazing. I saw the picture of him getting signed by Trippier as well.
He was. It was funny because I think my dad was more nervous than he was about meeting the Newcastle players. It was because most of the starstruck. Yeah, I think he was, to be honest. I mean, he knows most of the Gateshead players, like he's met them before because he's been at games with us before. And but yeah, I kind of got the feeling my dad was a bit more starstruck.
Can I just interrupt? Can I just interrupt because Mark was showing us some pictures at half time of obviously William getting pictures and getting his shirt signed and stuff, and it's like obviously just pictures of William. And then Kieran Trippier comes along to have his doing the sign in there, and then all of a sudden you just see Mark's dad like.
What was funny, there was 3 or 4 photos taken before that of, I think it was like Dan, Byrne, Sean, Longstaff, and you can kind of see me dad like
the shoulder
around the corner. You can't really see him, but then the Trippier one I was taking that photo, and all of a sudden my dad just took a big step to his left, got behind Trippier, and I was like, all right, okay, so you're getting this. But well, do you know what? All joking aside, players of both clubs, and to be honest, officials of both clubs were absolutely brilliant with William on Saturday. It's his birthday tomorrow, so it was kind of a treat for that. So
happy birthday, William!
It was brilliant.
Yeah, happy birthday!
So,
what an experience that is!
It's moments like I've saw like I say, my son. Anybody who knows him, he's 8. He's just Gateshead fanatic. And he burst into tears when Newcastle equalised, and that's how much he lives and breathes it. So when he is getting involved, and when he was mascot at Wembley, which was a once in a lifetime, he just run get the balls and kick them back people and stuff. It's just amazing for him. Do you know what I mean? And like the club as a whole, like the gaffer busted, and like all the lads, Adam, Greg, the lot, they couldn't be better. Like.
Certainly are. Oh well, that's great. Well, thank you very much. And as I say, Carl, don't be a stranger. I'm sure Mickey will drag you on in the coming weeks before the season starts. And hopefully we'll get a few players on as well. So best of luck, and we'll speak to you soon.
Hey, thank you guys. Take care.
Take care, Carl. Speak to you soon, bud.
Yeah.
Sorry, cut him off there. It was great to have Carl on. 1 second. We did have miss it. Apparently, Charles was gutted because he wasn't told that there was mascots. Normally he gets a photo of them, but he did get a stunning photo of me. Did I mention that? Gorgeous.
Oh, can someone solve me a mystery though? So allegedly Charles was going to retire last summer, and now I see him. I now see him taking photographs again. I'm a bit like
he retired from work.
He retired from work, not his love.
Not his hobby.
Yeah. And
not his hobby.
Happy birthday to William. Didn't expect much from both sets of players.
Can I bring something up?
Yep.
We've got 50 minutes in the show, and we still haven't discussed Davey getting hit on the head with a bottle.
That was fantastic. Honestly, the stick he got after the game was worse.
Honestly, forget William's birthday. That was like all my birthdays coming at once.
It was a hell of a shot. How I managed to hit him from that range, I'll never know.
It was a mixture of confusion, fury, and just
shock.
Yeah, Like what it was a metal drinks bottle, like reusable one, so aluminium bottle. The steward had it on top of the wall above the commentary area.
By the way, David, can I stop you there? Just in case, anyone was listening or watching and didn't know what a drinks bottle was, you went, like, as if we didn't know, the drinks bottle.
I was simulating the size.
I've seen that before, no?
Yeah, Dave, to be fair, from what I've been told, yours exaggerates size.
These cruel facts come back to haunt me in public arenas. So it whacked us on the head and bounced in front of us, and I was like, first of all, someone threw that, and then it was like that quite kind of hurt because it was full of water, and it just smacked us on the head, and then it was just like, and Mark just went, Dave, you're all right, carry on.
Martin Taylor wouldn't have said that, would he?
Wouldn't.
Nah,
you wouldn't even heard it.
Mark, the true professional there.
Honestly, the noise it made was genuinely. It was like something off a Looney Tunes cartoon.
It went obviously, Josh from Patrick was at the game as well. He was here with us last week. It was great to see him. Got to speak to him after the game.
Did you enjoy it?
Yeah, he loved
Josh,
it. Wrote some good content as well. It was not hard. Have you seen the size of his head? You know what the worst thing is? I couldn't read it before I put it up, and I just heard Mark laughing. I was like, don't think you had a nightmare on Saturday. I heard you couldn't pronounce Newcastle. Right.
Manquillo.
It looked like Manquillo to me. But Manquillo, then I was Manquillo. Oh, yeah, it was, yeah. See, I was expecting a lot more stick. We only got one bad thing online. We've seen one bad thing each. It wasn't that bad. I just said, sack the commentator. But for how many views it's had, 186,000 people have watched that on the highlights, which is just phenomenal advertisement for the club.
The thing is that sack the commentator thing was off my Twitter as well.
It was. I didn't like to see that. With a load of hashtag expletives as well, big head, and could have hit him harder with a bottle and things like that. Right. I would say that a lot of people have entered the hashtag comedy. If you want to go to the Laugh Your Heed Off tomorrow night, if you want to try and win some tickets, hashtag comedy in the chat, and you can be entered into that. We've only got 6 people. We've got a lot of people watching, so if you are able to get there, I know a lot of people might not be able to or don't live local that are watching. We do appreciate where everyone listens from. We did try to get Dean Seaver on and Michael DeFant on as well, or American Newcastle Gateshead fans. We're going to have them on for their opinions of the game because they were tuned in, but weren't able to get them on. Just sadly, obviously, the time difference, so still at work. But if you are local, like to get along to this, if you're not lucky enough to win tonight, get yourself some tickets, get along. It'll be a fantastic night. We've got a few more people there entering now. We've got Alison Chambers as well. David Chambers, he did see us, but he forgot about his shirt. I had it there with us. We've got a nice message here. Comedy was superb. There we go. Just like those criticise and give it a go. We make it look easier than what it is. But right, there we go. We're going to go for the draw now. I'll draw it. So good luck to everybody involved.
Well done, David Gaddis. Oh,
yeah. Alison Chambers. It's a Chambers. Chambers keep winning.
Wow.
The Chambers are just dominating this bloody quiz.
Alison
just
Chambers
ended as well.
the wife of David Chambers. If it isn't, it's another. But I'm guessing it is. So if David messages us, I'll be able to get him the tickets across to him. So congratulations there. But lads,
good work.
I mean, pre-season, we're right in the middle of it now, or even just past the middle of it. We've got a couple of games left. We've got South Shields away, Harrogate at home, and of course Dunston away on Friday. You would expect from now, normally you would start to see the team as you think it would start to form as we go into towards the season, and I think we've got a little bit of a hint of that on Saturday. Do you think, Mark?
Yeah, I think what you're looking at now, I think I said it earlier, with 3 games left in pre-season, you're probably looking at fine-tuning and really sort of hammering home what the starting lineup will be, or getting as close as you can to it for the Boreham Wood game. So I think we got a little hint of that on Saturday, but I think there's still maybe a couple of areas where there will be some decisions to be made, but I think the vast majority are pretty much nailed down. I just really like the way the side's looking out. Someone mentioned on Saturday that things just look a little bit more settled and a little bit more, in previous pre-seasons. Obviously, last year it was still very much reacting to the Kedwin and Macaulay Langstaff losses. The year before it was all about last-minute deals. I think Owen Bailey came in quite late. Dan Ward came in quite late? There was two late
Dan Ward came in the day before we went to Chorley in the FA Cup.
So it's whereas now it's kind of, yes, there may well be another signing or two, who knows, but I think the squad is pretty settled now. You could certainly put the squad as it is now. You could certainly put out a side on day one of the season that will go and, I think, win the game. So it's nice to see how controlled things have been. It's that's a great point from Charlotte, actually. Although the last on the bar, whoever the last on the bar was upstairs in the corporate pit was awful, whoever she was. But I just think it's been a good pre-season. It's been planned to perfection. The recruitment's been excellent. I think everything has just gone the way they'd wanted to, and now it's just a case of continuing that in the season.
Yeah. It's just as Liv Walden put earlier on, lots of positivity at the moment, and hopefully we can continue on that. And I think we mentioned it after Wembley as well. It'd be nice to build on it, and we're kind of starting to see that. In the past, we maybe let that opportunity go by, but with what's been done in pre-season with the friendlies so far has been absolutely amazing. We've got a couple of messages coming that we'll read out just before we go. Ben Allison has asked if we're doing commentary at South Shields. Unfortunately, I can't make that game. My wife is going away with the mother-in-law down to Coronation Street, so I can't go to that one. But there will be commentary for the Harrogate game on Tuesday night. Unfortunately, Mark isn't with me, and so I'm sure I'll get a message from the standby or the substitute. Charlotte Potts, I think, will be dying to get on. She loves it. We've got another one here. I'm refusing service to you next time, Mark.
It's not the first time I've had a woman say that to us, to be fair.
Well,
I thought this was a family show.
We've learned a lot of things about each other tonight, everybody. How I describe a bottle with my hands. How not in the past. But yeah, just before we go, a big thank you to our sponsors, Northern Print Solutions, of course. I'll just change the thing here just so we can put it down there. And also to Patrick as well for partnering with us and with our lovely t-shirts. We do very much thank. We have another t-shirt to give away. We'll probably do that on next week's show. Also as well, if you are aware, we do have the audio version of this on Spotify. That's why that Spotify logo is at the bottom, or on Facebook as well. Heed on Me Podcast Live if you'd like to do that, and also subscribe to us here on YouTube and like the page on Facebook. So please do that. Help us reach more people. It's been a fantastic week. We've seen the growth of or the reach, should I say, of what's been done with the pre-season friendly highlights has been absolutely phenomenal. So people around the world know of Gateshead FC and that they scored some decent goals last weekend. So hopefully we can carry that on and get more people talking. Ultimately, more people to the match. Remember, get there tomorrow night. I'll quickly put the poster up one more time. Big Friday. For Friday. Big thank you to Gateshead as well for giving us 2 tickets to give away. So we hope that Alison and I believe David's her husband. I'm hoping it's the right chambers. They'll have a lovely night there, but also you can get there as well. £15, and it will be an absolutely great night. Of course, we all know Gav, and he's top class. Is a top act around the country. And we've got one more message here. We've got want to say well done, all involved. The club shop on Saturday, brilliant merchandise too. Yeah, it's everyone's looking very smart, and the strips are on their way, I would imagine, soon, because obviously the pre-orders are in. So if you haven't got yours, do that. But Mark, Davey, Steely, thank you very much. It's been an absolute pleasure tonight, and we'll say goodbye to everybody. And just remember, this is what you've got to do. You've got to subscribe, and we'll see you next time. Bye.